everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another live stream of Shadowverse. Today is Monday, June the 7th. Let's hop into the game. I'm still ending up listening to a lot of the Cinderella Girls music as I'm waiting and preparing myself mentally and to stream. It does kind of take a little bit of setup just to make sure I'm in the right mindset and that my throat is moist to the specific requirements, so I'm not going to end up completely cotton-mouthed the second I start talking. Guess we could do Bloodcraft or Havencraft or Dragoncraft or Portalcraft. I kind of want to do Portalcraft, but I think I would fail pretty miserably if I did that. Let's see. I kind of feel like, was Havencraft an option? I think it was. Let's play that. Yeah, it is exhausting to say the least. It's stupid to start a stream whining, but like some of these streams do go 3 or 4 hours, and I'm certainly not getting any younger, as it were. For the accountability section, I did do a little scheduling over the weekend, which I'm proud of myself for actually doing that. Although I have so many Pinball Arcade videos uploaded because there was just so many different pinball consoles there, that I didn't actually schedule all the Pinball Arcade. There is a slight chance that Pinball Arcade will run right into October and maybe even over October, as far as I don't think it'll go all the way through the month of October as far as the Halloween month, but there is definitely a question I need to ask myself as far as the second Halloween next year, whether that's something I really want to try to do, or if that's something I want to potentially try and move back to February or January. It may very well be the case that in my own mind, at least, a lot more happens in the last 4 months of a year than the first 6 months of the year. So, like, October, November, December, like, those often do feel like months that take 2 months to get through, as silly as that may sound. So I may want to, instead of trying to have it directly 6 months, or like, well, October is the 10th month, so if 6 months from that would be the 4th month, which would be April. Instead of having it in April, though, I'm not sure. I don't want it in February or January, or maybe just move it to March. As far as the scheduling, there is no correlation whatsoever as to when I actually record the content. So there's kind of no connection there. I also have been playing Left 4 Dead. I was watching a video showing how Twitch's API can be integrated into like Minecraft plugins and other game plugins, where the players are actually controlling what happens in Minecraft or whatever game you would make a plugin for. And certainly that feels like something in a modern time that Back 4 Blood, which is the spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead, could implement, and Left 4 Dead, 13-year-old game, if it came out today, might have implemented the idea that people could watch you play, or watch your team of 4 people play, and then the Twitch players could change the outcome, almost certainly in a negative way, for the streamer, making more zombies appear, giving them more health, things like that. But inherently, that is The only thing that would happen is that you would have your Twitch streamers all trying to wreck you and ruin your day by throwing more things at you. Very few fandoms are going to be so kind that they would follow you and try and help you out and give you positive effects. And if you were going to play a game where your Twitch fans were throwing more and more monsters at you, giving more health to the enemies, things like that, then it really falls upon you that you're accepting that challenge, and the crowd would go wild, certainly, if you could overcome such a challenge. But yeah, the whole system is likely to cause some resentment on one side or the other. There's a high chance of failure of the streamer, and there's a high chance of the stream still being not satisfied if you do defeat their onslaught. And then there is, of course, the bigger issue, certainly, that Twitch is kind of taking Twitch viewers and running them through a circle, hamster wheel, because they have shifted gamers, a lot of gamers, and on sometimes even me, they've shifted a lot of gamers from being people who actively play video games into being these passive watchers of video games. And now they are potentially gamifying their own service to an extent that I shouldn't have evolved that they are bringing the players who once were players and now are passive watchers back to being players, potentially. At least that's a possibility. And yeah, if anything, I guess interactivity is always going to be king. More interactivity and more immersion will always make a medium more interesting for most people. There still is a large percentage of people, though, that want to turn their brain off and just watch TV. Even as heavy as I am into podcasts, I on occasions will find myself saying out loud the word that the podcaster is trying to think of, as if the podcaster could hear what I was saying. And it's just this like subconscious oops, I'm talking to myself situation that I've seen happening a few times. And then I immediately recognize what I've done and feel like I'm a fool. As far as what I'm actually playing on Left 4 Dead, there's basically nothing to say about Left 4 Dead at all. There's some weird sexist things, I would say, that once again I'm ending up having to talk about, like feminism and benevolent sexism in a game, and every time I do, I feel like, oh, am I sliding down to becoming a social justice warrior, or am I just perhaps a slightly progressive person that actually believes in pointing out things that I think could have been improved upon or shouldn't have been done? Or maybe I don't even really think that they shouldn't be done. The artists can do whatever they want. If artists want to make Nazi propaganda, literal, actual Nazi propaganda, I'm not going to stop them. But I think as a critic, I probably should point it out, just in case other people don't see it for what it is. That's probably the extent of what a critic should do. If I was to just think about it. But the developer commentary of Left 4 Dead I'm going through after I beat each scenario, and they've been talking about the different character models, and they bring in a lady developer to talk about the development of the one female character out of the 4 playable characters in Left 4 Dead. I'm not sure I've heard any other lady in any of the other commentary. I just don't remember it enough to be certain there. And she talks about how it was way harder to develop the female character because she had to be young and attractive and had to be vulnerable and sometimes scared. And like, the characters in Left 4 Dead literally have no character. There's no backstory to them in the game. It's just nothing at all. So the idea, as I heard it and the way it sounded to me, is that they were given a mandate to make the character from some upper management like that. Not that there's a legitimate reason why the character would have to be that way. Like, the other 3 characters are just a black guy in business attire, a white guy in biker clothes with tattoos on his arm, and an old guy in a military outfit, which even that doesn't really make sense because he has like a green beret, but he looks too old to actually have been in the military when the green berets actually existed. So honestly, some of the appearance of his military attire is so low polygon, and it doesn't have his name on the tag or anything. It's almost like he's a fake military guy, just by the appearance of his outfit, but I don't think that was the impression that people were supposed to get from it. And then, as I'm doing the developer commentary going through the hospital section, I noticed that there was a male zombie model that had his butt hanging out of a medical dress, skirt, smock, whatever it's called, for really no reason. And that model gets used a lot. I had like 3 of them in the exact same small room because there aren't that many models for Left 4 Dead. It's a very limited game by modern standards as far as different characters, different zombies. But yeah, that's more TV and film, that you actually would not be wearing underwear in most scenarios, wearing a medical smock. Anyways, but the guy's butt crack is showing, and then that gets back to the whole benevolent sexism thing. If you think if the artist wants to do that and they want to pull that gag, there's really no reason why there shouldn't also be a female version of that. And if it feels different to you to do that for a female versus a male, then you probably should evaluate that and not do it for either genders. So yeah, that once again became an issue, but at least something to talk about, point out. And some of the other developer commentaries, like, are just proud of nothing. Like, one of the commentaries was proud of a ladder coming out of the sewers level, and there's like, this is the best part of this whole section. And I'm like, the ladder? Really? The ladder is the best part of the whole section? It's ridiculous. And in the sewers level, there's a whole scripted section where you get attacked by a boss, basically. And they didn't even bother to put a commentary node there. So no commentary whatsoever on that. And then, like, in the commentary, that's where, once you get out of the sewer section, you can look at the witch zombie model, and that once again gets into some weirdness, because the witch is like the only zombie in the entire series that's in their underwear, and that doesn't doesn't really make sense logically. There's no backstory to it. And the witch is just sobbing in a corner, and if you just walk by him and ignore her, she won't attack anybody. Although playing in single player, inevitably somebody else will attack her on accident and startle the witch. Which, yeah, her sobbing does send my imagination to think that there might have been some backstory. Her sobbing in her underwear, to my mind, means, oh, was this a sexual assault victim that got turned into a zombie before or during that act? And that would be a bold thing to give a character to. One thing that probably would improve Left 4 Dead in general is if the witch was the main boss of the entire single player series, and she would just take a certain amount of damage and run away and never actually die, and there was literally only one witch in the entire game. Like, maybe you shouldn't call the character the witch anyways. Back 4 Blood calls it the snitch, but also I'm not sure Back 4 Blood is going to have any female super zombies, although they're calling them trolls this time. There could have been a whole story around who started the zombie apocalypse in Left 4 Dead. You could have certainly had it been passed along through cigarettes, or in more modern time vapes, because you have a super zombie called the Smoker that would then have more of a backstory. But yeah, in a normal game, the witch would show up at very strategic points and attack people, and you'd have to do a certain amount of damage, and then she'd run away, and it wouldn't be until the very end of the entire game that you actually defeated her. There is no Umbrella Chronicles. No, not Umbrella Chronicles. Umbrella organization in Left 4 Dead. There's no explanation, and it's not always required for an explanation for a zombie scenario, but it does create an issue. What is this? I have no idea. 1 second. Something just popped up on my screen. I can't read it, so I'm gonna have to... Oh man. If I do that, I'll mess up the screen too. Something is out of memory. I'll just close it. Let's see what just happened there. Did one of the desktop tickers crash? No, the desktop tickers are working fine. Well, I did upgrade to OBS version 27 and have been using it fine, but let me just see if maybe Left 4 Dead crashed. Yeah, Left 4 Dead just crashed. Okay, fine. That's fine. That's perfectly acceptable because I wasn't even in the middle of a level. And plus I could just jump back to that subsection anyways. So yeah, Left 4 Dead causing problems by having a memory leak by the looks of it. It's not uncommon really for games to have memory leaks, though. Do I want to say anything else about Left 4 Dead? No, there's just major ways you would improve it. You would have more variety in the levels instead of having an entire scenario be focused around 2 or 3 areas. Like the first scenario is only street level areas and a few inside building areas until you get to the hospital. Then it's only hospital levels and the rooftop section, really, at that point. And there's plenty of other areas in the other scenarios, but they didn't have enough video RAM, I think, to load all the different sections. There is a problem too that nothing ever happens, so the street level areas in the first scenario don't have any iconic moments or anything that would stand out or be interesting. And that's kind of how it constantly goes, is that you just don't have enough interesting events occur in any section, so moving to the next section just feels like you're on a boring teacup ride. And yeah, very few things fix boring. So I might as well kill that, because this is gonna summon a guy anyways. I imagine in the next day or two I'll finish all of Left 4 Dead, probably jump immediately to Left 4 Dead 2. I think I will try to see if I can play a campaign online, just to see what that experience really would be. Just that it's been a long time since I've tried to play any game online. There's a whole versus mode that if there is an audience, it would make sense to try and see that work. Okay. Wait to do this. I think I almost have to.
Smiles are the best medicine.
Do I have anything else I want to talk about? Let's see. Well, because I upgraded to OBS 27, it is possible to use these new transitions, but the way they've enabled them is only when a specific part of a scene turns on and off. There's a little eyeball tool. The transitions are not integrated into full scene transitions, which means my web peak activation part of the code, the thing that changes it to this scene, can't trigger the transitions, nor can you apply the transitions to an entire scene. So at best, I can turn off the display capture section of this scene just to show this off, and I won't be doing this because I would have to basically have a key button pressed to trigger it. And then when I turn it back on, it will do this little effect. And the effect is supposed to be connecting to what it's, I guess, seeing before and what is it's seeing after. Although maybe not, because in this case I've got it configured and it seems to really not be merging the old image at all. It seems to just be showing showing some colors. So yeah, that's a nice effect, but it's also a slow effect, and that's part of the problem with something like this too, is that there's, as fancy as it might look, there's a real problem with the general.
No, the smiles are not.
Let's see. I guess I have to do this. Do I want to restore 2 to my leader? I don't think I need to. So yeah, it's nice that they've integrated a new transitions as an idea, but that whole setup just doesn't really work for my current workflow, and I can't immediately off the top of my head figure out a way to integrate that. What I need it to basically apply to the entire scene, not a specific video source, and I could get around that, but then I have to find a new triggering part to get to the web peak in the first place. Probably, maybe not, if they can apply it to the full source. Maybe that becomes no longer an issue. Hope this works. Well, let's see. Let's go and heal ourselves. Let's see, is there anything else to talk about? I'm slowly just trying to lower the QoS, the quality of service on my router. I think it's a matter of consistency. I'm not having full mess ups, but I am having a few points at which it seems fairly obvious that my ISP is not always going to guarantee speeds of that height. So I need to just take what I can get.
This is where I truly shine.
And lower it slightly for more consistency. I wouldn't be surprised if I really am only supposed to be getting like 100 megabits, and yet sometimes it bursts up to well over 200 megabits, but then every now and then it seems like it kind of clogs up just enough. And what I'm actively looking for is a removal of any loading or noticeable loading happening when like I've got a video or two streaming. Of course, I'm also making fairly high demands where it's like I sometimes have Netflix streaming and videos uploading to YouTube and watching a YouTube video on my cell phone. I'm fairly random about that. Let's see.
Don't underestimate me.
Is there anything else as far as the catch-up? No, I guess not. So let's just try and hurry. It's already been 30 minutes to the through the news. I'm in a weird position because I'm trying to get away from TechRaptor, and yet there's 3 TechRaptor articles I have here. One of these is talking Zoop and crowdfunding with co-founder Jordan Plosky. So this looks like this is a tabletop article, so no reason why, no surprise there that I wouldn't have seen it in any of the other articles. Then we have a review, which no surprise that their review specifically wouldn't show up in on other websites' YouTube feeds. Apparently they love Samir, but I'm really trying to get away from reading video game journalists' reviews in general. Plus, I don't recognize this person. It's like, yeah, they've only written a few articles, and 3 of them were features, and 2 of them have been reviews. So yeah, still actively trying to get away from TechRaptor. On the other hand, I'm still also trying to actively get away from Destructoid. And so I've got 2 new sources, and I'm not sure if either one is going to be a perfect fit. In a funny way, one might work very well to replace Gamatsu, but I wasn't wanting to replace Gamatsu. I want to replace Gamasutra and TechRaptor, and Destructoid now. So I'm now trying to, once again, I may very well, by the end of this week, I'll give it a week, move over to a new news source, and we may do this for weeks and weeks. It may take us a year just to go through a long list of video game websites to find one that's meeting my very specific desires. And I may just have to compromise and have a news source that just misses some articles, and just recognize that that's as good as it's gonna get. Which that would kind of suck, but whatever. TechRaptor does have this article. I saw this also on Reddit. A Fallout 2 mod called Olympus 2207 is getting a full English translation. This is a Russian mod. Apparently it's one of their most famous mods. That being said, I don't really delve very deeply into the realm of mods, and that was one of the things that I kind of recognized in looking at the choices as far as which scenarios you can play in Left 4 Dead, is that there is a way to add on mods or add on scenarios, and I really don't feel like there is any scenario that ever got any news coverage at all for Left 4 Dead 1 or 2. It would have been a lot better an idea if Valve made some intern, some employee, put out a new scenario every Halloween for Left 4 Dead. But the support clearly drained up at some point. I think fairly quickly drained up after the first DLC or so. The first or second DLC bits came out. Or at least Team Fortress 2, which is more of a generically popular style of game, because it isn't a horror game like that. That game is still getting support of some level, not particularly a high amount of level, but people are still playing it, whereas I suspect very few people are playing Left 4 Dead. And if anybody's playing Left 4 Dead right now, they're probably just trying to warm up to play Back 4 Blood. Okay. Do I want to do that? Do I want to do this? do this. I think we do this.
Today we'll lift some heavy scriptures.
Then this.
You're in good hands.
Then that.
Stay away from me.
Destructoid does have an article here. Warner Brothers is reportedly not bringing Gotham Knights, Suicide Squad, or Hogwarts Legacy to E3 2021. Part of the problem with one of the news sources that we have is that they were willing to post a lot more rumors for E3. We are a week or so through E3. This Destructoid is still pushing for the idea of Lego City Undercover 2. If that actually comes out, then I know for a fact Destructoid had a leaker telling them about it. If anything, I suspect there might be a small chance that Lego is going to come out with, not TT Games specifically or Warner Brothers, but Lego themselves directly, or Lego with a new partner is going to come out with some more text-based programming elements that probably would integrate with Lego bricks. But I also wouldn't be surprised if Lego tried to come out with a third product line between the Legos, the Duplos, and the Friends. Which I guess that's a fourth product line at that point. It is kind of ridiculous, though, to speculate when wait a week and you'll see what's said, and you'll realize that whatever is said is not that interesting or important because it's really just a pack of lies, maybe with the occasional truth nugget somewhere in the middle there. Like every announcement is, at E3 in particular, has historically been known for being fake demos or fake previews, pre-rendered footage. Every release date is historically known, or nearly every release date has historically been known to be not real because it gets pushed back, and almost certainly they were planning to push it back. I guess we should, as gamers, hope that E3 does not become some center for a new variant of COVID to propagate and spread around. It would be slightly nice for the world to end and it not be gamers' fault.
The uncharted desert awaits.
Or possibly the world not ending at all. That's a slim chance that might happen too. Of course, I'm being sarcastic there. Destructoid has another article here. The new Mario Golf site lets you earn my Nintendo points. How do you have to do it?
Scatter like the blossom. Oh my, this packs more trouble than it's worth.
Let's see. Apparently, maybe it has you go through
Breach of contract, huh?
a advertisement basically via website. And you have to kind of follow the ball from point to point. I think 100 Nintendo Play points is probably not a lot, but I certainly could see a child taking whatever they could get. So I've got a ton of these, and this is one of the sites that I'm potentially going to try and use. in4g.com. They have an article here. Valve introduces unranked matchmaking in Counter-Strike Go. people still playing Counter-Strike Go. I'm not going to bother to really clean up any of the ads or things on the websites. This story in particular would be incredibly small. But apparently it's not the full story. So, that may be a deal breaker for N4G anyways. Because then that took me, when he clicked the link, to GAIMER, gamer. And this is a, looks like a completely different website, so I don't know if this was a write-up of another website, or if the one website that I was following, N4G, is straight up has a bunch of subsidiaries that they work for. Let's see. It's like because next we have The Legend of Heroes PS4 gameplay, and again, I guess under this read the full story section is a video. I don't think I could really overall work with a site that is just taking other sites' content and boiling it down to a single sentence. That's too much editing, and that opens up the door to a big problem. And see, that article brings me to a Google translated page for a company, a Japanese website, I think, called Denki Online, Dengeki Online, and that pretty much confirms that, yeah, N4G, the way they do things is not going to work in my flow. So we'll cover their news, but we'll mute them on Twitter. This one says that Milestone 2 side below gets a new trailer and is delayed again to fall of 2021. I suppose we could watch this trailer, skip around. It looks to me like it's a visual novel of some sort.
You have summoned the blade of purgation. Your head and body must part ways. Burn the sight of living flame into your
This
eyes.
N4G has this like number that says 100 degrees, and I wonder if that's some kind of hotness rating as far as the interest around the article. Yeah, they say a high-speed sword fighting action game Ultra Age gets an impressive gameplay trailer. Let's see, if we click on this, it does move it to the bottom there. I think we may have seen this game already, but if not, alright, it looks like kind of a Bayonetta style beat 'em up with swords. Seems like you're fighting robots, which can be fairly dull. One of the things about Nier Automata is that you're fighting robots the whole game, but they've actually got you looking at very humanoid characters a lot of the time too. Alright, well, that looks interesting. Let's see. I think if I play this,
Some heavy scriptures.
it's probably our safest bet.
A fair a day keeps the doctor
I'll
away.
see you in purgatory.
go ahead and now I can evolve that next turn. See. Final Fantasy VII Remake low-res textures are finally fixed in the PS5 version, according to whoever In4G is quoting. Let's see. Minecraft gets a new video about caves and cliffs updates, info on future coming Minecraft Live of 2021. That's maybe interesting to people, but not me per se. I kind of like Minecraft. Well, I do like Minecraft, but I haven't been particularly interested in going back and playing it, even with this major update. Like, I'm not really sure what would convince me to go back and play it. It would probably be something fairly complicated and not very popular with the actual audience of Minecraft players. Here, In4G says Cozy Grove summer update. Let's finally let you hug bears. Okay. Yeah, there's just no substance in these articles. Here we have one, and this one says 210 degrees. A new Jurassic World game is on its way. Yeah. Let's see, this one says gadgetcrutches.com. So is that the actual website that it came from? It is. So they've got like a special tag, it seems, for every website that they quote. Let's see. And see, this is more of a rumor, and it's getting reported without it making it clear that it's a rumor by In4G. Which, yep, that is a problem with the game of telephone as far as news always. Is that the more middlemen any source of info comes. Here we have one City of Atlantis trailer, shows off the indie city builder. Let's see this. I think there's kind of a problem with the idea of a city builder around Atlantis, in that Atlantis is very clearly described, at least in Indiana Jones and Fate of Atlantis, as having 3 rings. So you can only go so far that way. And it has to be somewhat near water, one would think, because it was an island. So yeah, I'm not really sure how far you could go with this compared to just a standard city builder, which lets you have a lot more variety in what you want to do or could do. Plus, if you're not going to put an interesting story on Atlantis, there's really no reason to use Atlantis. And I'm actually shocked that more people haven't been able to put an interesting story around Atlantis as a concept. Let's see. A game called Ruby the Wayward Mira is jumping its way onto the Switch. And this is from NintendoLink.com, I think. See, theoretically, this is the same thing that every other video game site does, is that they just copy and cannibalize stories from each other. The difference is In4G is arguably doing it the more ethical way, which is the less efficient way, by not being a direct replacement for the original article source. But that is no good. That really does not work for time management. So I wanted to see this game Ruby, and you can see this whole page is just full of ads. There's an ad over here popping up, there's ads over there. Let's see. Looks like this is a platforming game. This might very well be a game that doesn't come to PC. With the Amazon Prime Day occurring, it does occur to me that I might want to finally get around to buying a Switch. I don't really know if I'm ever gonna really have time to justify that purchase, though. Plus, the whole thing about the chip shortage probably isn't going to make a Switch particularly cheap. Ooh.
What? Impossible!
We may find also that N4G blocks you on some articles, because I noticed a couple pages there that wanted me to log into an account on N4G, which that just gives me a second reason to not continue following. Well, that's certainly going to make Wednesday easier, because I don't even have to dance around it and give them a second chance at this point. There's no way N4G is going to make it into the standard workflow. Well, moving on, these are all pretty much bundled together. According to somebody, Canada is really cold 1,000 years from now, says the Horizon Forbidden West narrative director. Which, does that mean anything at all? No, not really. The anime-themed 2D hack-and-slash ARPG Lost Epic is now available via early access. Let's see what this looks like. I guess you get a little bit more room if you have it scroll down than you do if it scrolls up. This is interesting. I'm surprised I haven't seen this before. This feels like something Gematsu would have talked about. It's on Steam. But see, the problem with this is even though that catches my interest, there's no reference or link here, so I can't even go and look at the Steam page easily.
Wings of light, show your might.
Punish the wicked, spare the innocent. Let judgment
Get that.
fall.
Is that how you treat a lady?
A tower defense MOBA called Skydome has just announced its stress test this week, which that's not really worthwhile information to even be talking about, really. Doesn't look terrible for a tower defense game. I just don't know how this isn't going to be exactly the same as every other tower defense game in its actual gameplay. A game called Frozenheim preview. Apparently it was written. It's a city builder RTS. It was written by HeyPoorPlayer.com. Yeah, I don't even like the idea of having to accredit another website over and over again. It's been very easy to look at a website and go, oh, this is a Gamasutra site, or this is a Gematsu site, or this is a TechRaptor site. If all of a sudden I have to figure out which site is which, that's a lot more work on my part. A game called Button City is coming to the Switch this summer. Imagine we might have a fairly large lineup of Switch games being announced. That doesn't inherently mean any of them are going to be good or interesting, though.
Smiles are the best medicine.
Seriously?
A bear a day keeps the doctor away.
I'm just getting nowhere here. And if I win, they'll actually make it to the B rank, I believe. A game called Ever Tried is kickstarting its way to the Switch this fall. It's a tactical roguelite game. Final Mechanism is puzzling its way onto the Switch as a 2D puzzle action game.
Did I overreach myself?
A game called Free Fire OB28 update is coming out. I have no idea what Free Fire even is, though.
Feel free to call on me again.
Free Fire Rampage New Dawn, Rampage 3.0 event and new mode complete details. So it seems like they might specifically be getting paid to advertise this game.
This is not the end.
Microsoft Flight Simulator Edgeley Optica was released by Orbix, so this is a plane that is being released for Microsoft Simulator, which they let them do that. Let's see. Anno Mutationium for the PS5, PS4, and PC gets a new trailer showing off plenty of new gameplay. So let's see what kind of game this really is. Is it a side-scrolling beat 'em up or kind of a point-and-click adventure game? Or a visual novel? Yeah, it seems like it's a side-scrolling beat 'em up. Although it may not be much if a lot of the gameplay is just taking place in a simulation area. And that didn't really feel like a beat 'em up event, is more than a quick time event. Might be something to this, but I almost would need to figure out if Anno Mutationium is a spin-off game or what from a Anno series, or is it not connected to other games that I know I've heard of called Anno, or not? Because I think Anno games previously were just real-time strategy games, but I could be totally wrong about that. Alright, well, we forgot to buy packs again, so let's go ahead and buy one pack as we're building up our reserves. And then I bet we'll have some pack tickets for let's see. We want to get the add-on stuff. I'll just go ahead and open all three of those. Yeah. I guess we're looking for high value cards. That would make the most sense. I guess you're kind of always looking for that. Although for some of these expansions, even the newest one, it might be that I just want one of everything. So getting potentially a pull of 8 of this card, while that would get me a ton of vials, wouldn't really satisfy my overall goal of trying to have just one of every card. Let's see, what else do we have? I'm already yawning. Alright, we need a Dragoncraft or Havencraft, and then a Bloodcraft and Portalcraft. And then we could be done for today, although news probably will not allow that to happen. N4G has F1 2021 removes classic cars and focuses on new features and next-gen hardware. So Codemasters, I think, was recently acquired by Embracer Group, and they probably are tired of having to deal with licenses of old cars or the visuals of old cars. Would be my guess. Here we have a game called Corrupt, C-O-R-E-U-P-T, for PC and next gen consoles. Looks like this is a fighting game. It's got the warning at the front telling you not to get too hyped or be surprised when it isn't as good. Not sure that long staff weapons ever make a lot of sense. I'm no expert at fighting games, but I also feel like what you would want to see in a trailer is somebody to pull off maybe a 4 or 5 hit combo at most, and then see someone else be able to like frame perfect block or defeat a combo, and see some real competition and top tier like professional interactions happen on the demo, instead of it looking like you're just beating up on a
I only did what I had to.
Easy character that has no AI or no defense. Alright, we're just looking for Portalcraft and Bloodcraft now. That was easy enough. Actually, let's just play. No, we'll come back and play a Dragoncraft later if we have extra time, but we have a game here called Aeon Drive. Looks like super fast in its new trailer. I don't know if Aeon is really a word or not. Like, I'm not sure it wasn't just made up for Aeon Flux.
All systems online.
Right, so this is a platforming game with fast-paced ninja-like movements and hack and slash stuff. You have a dash ability that seems like it would be very easy there. I have no interest in the co-op section here. I could see this also being maybe just a little too frustrating as a platformer, or maybe just a little too redundant, but this definitely is not a game I could just immediately dismiss. That's another game from Guerrilla Collective, so feels like we may be seeing a few games from them. The Eternal Cylinder gets a new trailer showing off a desert biome, and it's weird and cute as ever. So once again, is a game I don't recognize. But yeah, there might be just hundreds, if not thousands, of games that I've not heard of or not seen for one reason or another. Although I would say this game looks very weird, to the point where this very well may just be an asset flip kind of joke game with a little bit more polish. So I would have to see how people really liked that game. Let's see, Dead or Alive Extreme Venus Vacation gives a free chance at Lobelia and celebrates Mary Rose's birthday. Yeah, the Dead or Alive Extreme version, though I'm not sure that this latest version was even put on English sites or in the West. I think it wasn't, actually. And then at a certain point, the Dead or Alive Venus Vacation Beach Volleyball concept has done as much as I think it can do as far as them improving visuals and for their fighting game, improving hair physics and movement physics and animations, improving the boob jiggles, the hair flow. Although that is something you could continuously just tweak forever, they're probably getting diminishing returns on that. Meanwhile, losing the Western audience maybe affected their sales a little bit, and maybe didn't. Let's see. Scarlet Nexus gets more screenshots and videos displaying characters, powers, bonuses, and more. So, yeah.
Alas, no smile today. Why
Let's
would I
go
laugh?
ahead and hit this,
I'm so useless.
and then hit this. I don't know why I did it that way, but okay. We'll bounce around through the other news sources, but I want to get through N4G first, since it's turned into a mess. I didn't even check these clearly. New Sea of Stars teaser trailer is all about birdies. Video shows the making of concept art. Right, this looks like an RPG game. Doesn't look bad, but it's a kind of interesting in that you have two characters that seem to be in the same environment for one reason or another. I don't know why you would do that. I guess maybe it's just because there's only two characters.
Fresh manna melons and potion fruit. Why would I laugh?
A game called Lambs on the Road Episode 1 will launch on Switch and PC July 15th. And there really are some games that I've just never heard of. Guilty Gear Strive reveals gorgeous story mode, opening launch trailer and roadmap release. Let's see. Yeah. Definitely, I know if I had only ever followed Gematsu in particular, I would have never heard about a lot of other bits of information
Coming at you.
or games.
The design fault lies with you. I do believe.
So, you know, I definitely do recognize that.
You smell suspicious.
Here we have Ninja Gaiden Master Collection gets new videos sharing some tips for a newbie ninja, age restricted.
Setting reflectors.
Um,
The design fault lies with
The
you.
Master Collection of Ninja Gaiden, though, I don't believe is any new Ninja Gaiden games. I think it's just a kind of bundling / maybe remastering of the Ninja Gaiden series.
Quicksilver Baron.
Psychonauts 2 could be released in August according to Steam.
I never get a chance to
Yeah.
speak.
That misseems. Okay. Draw a card. Start of your next 2 turns, draw a card. Yeah, I mean, it definitely is believable that Psychonauts 2 could come out. A game called Mighty Goose has a launch trailer, but then there's no video link to that.
Oh, guinea pigs, where are
And
you?
that seems to be a direct link to a video.
Code FMD.
A sweet dating sim miracle snack shop has been announced for Nintendo Switch. Sounds like an adult low effort game.
Such a good guinea pig.
Might very well be the reason why I don't hear about any of these games is because they either are not coming to PC or they are from kind of such small companies that they don't even get their articles or their information published when they send out a press release, or they don't even put out press releases at all. Right, well, do that. Do that. Do that. In return, see, have a gander as the Mighty Goose runs and guns on Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC. Alright, these are like all I can really do is read the headlines. A fan recreates all levels of GoldenEye on Far Cry 5. Gameplay and comparison videos are out. Which, okay, cool. I don't think anybody's itching to go back and play GoldenEye, even though people have nostalgia for it. So if I do this, and then do this, and then do this, and then return, that buffs that one up down. Here they have an article breaking down the character classes of Chivalry 2 out tomorrow. And then Demon Slayer for the PS5, Xbox Series, and more gets an English gameplay trailer showing Zenitsu and Inosuke. Which, yeah, this Demon Slayer game is getting more and more hype about it. But, you know, the thing is, we've seen a couple of Japanese anime centered games and there's like a ton of hype around them, and then the games turn out to be pretty bad. Kill la Kill, the Kill la Kill fighting game comes to mind. The One Punch Man game comes to mind. Both of those games also were fairly delayed away from the peak of popularity of those series. The Ghost in the Shell standalone complex game most recently to come out comes to mind. Even the Little Witch Academia Netflix anime sort of game was a disappointment. And even some of the Dragon Ball Z games are kind of disappointments. And Naruto games were disappointments. So there's a very low percentage of success. Anyways, a Days Gone mod makes hordes more challenging with up to 670 mods zombies on the screen. That's one of the things that I think Left 4 Dead could be better with, is that it would probably be better if they could get 100 or 200 zombies on the screen, where really they're getting maybe 30 or 40 at most on a specific screen. The number is not high by modern standards. On the other hand, I think it might be more interesting to just have the zombies have more life. It's in a weird position where you still kind of have to double tap on every standard zombie to kill it. Because a headshot has to do more damage than a chest shot. Even in that instance.
Activate. Enhance. Fire.
Judgment will rain down upon you.
But yeah. one of the commentary notes was talking about how they spent a lot of effort to animate the zombies falling down in a natural way, and 13 years later looking at it, I'm just like laughing at them because it doesn't look natural. It looks very bad. Days Gone, on the other hand, its problem is that it thought it could succeed by having a ton of zombies on the screen, and pretty much people proved that after a certain number, the numbers getting bigger doesn't matter. If you can get 100 zombies on the screen, it's the same as 200, which is the same as 670 in most people's minds. And just pulling the trigger 670 times to fire a gun is kind of a ridiculous thought.
Oh, guinea pigs, where are you?
Let's see, Fantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis gets an introduction by PSO to Kami's character in funny videos. So these are advertisement videos just explaining what PSO2 is, or PSO2 New Genesis is.
I am such a genius.
And then some No More Heroes screenshots. I'll click on this article because I'm actually interested in that. But then that pretty much puts us away from any of the Infor news, I think, for the day. Okay. We want this evolved.
Coming at you.
So then this could evolve for free.
I do believe we have a case.
And then return that, I guess. Make a copy of it.
I am such a
Check
genius.
there. So this is NintendoEverything.com. They've got some screenshots of No More Heroes 3. But clicking on a screenshot seems like it would take too much time on this website because it's just loading everything over and over again. No More Heroes has this kind of soft cell animation effect to it, so it's kind of hard to say there's not enough detail or there's maybe too much detail. I can see some fairly rough stuff in the grass, but it probably doesn't matter. I can see the hair looks a little bit aliased. I can see it looks like maybe not as many polygons on the baseball handle here. I think the gimmick of No More Heroes 3 is you run into a lot of people you defeated in No More Heroes 1 and 2, and this was one of the characters I think you defeated. So they may very well be coming back for vengeance now.
Fresh manna melons and potion fruit.
Do I plug that?
You smell
Check that.
suspicious.
Right. So the other news source we were looking at was Game Bolt. And they have Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Day 1 update will add 60 frames per second and 60 frames per second plus ray tracing modes, which this is a much more standard article that I could clear up. So Game Bolt doesn't have to immediately be eliminated like N4G does. Then we have A Gamma Sutra article, how IGF finalist Arog explores death and mourning and acceptance. Of course, this is the International Game Festival owned by the parent company of Gamma Sutra, and that's pretty much the only reason I think they're writing an article about this game, which to me looks like a very artsy game, and that's probably about all I can say about it. Let's see. Wait till 9th turn. I can kill that by playing that.
I do believe we have a case.
See, Gamatsu has the Chernobylite Tatiana story trailer.
Look to the zenith. For there, I
Which-
will rise.
Looks like it might be an interesting, probably horror walking simulator
Never get a
game.
chance to speak.
Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's more of a puzzle experience, adventure experience. Seems like at some point you get some kind of gun. It feels like more of a horror game. Yeah, that looks like that might be something of interest. Let's go
Howl cyclones, devour the land.
play that.
It's the small things in life.
Play that. And I guess I have to evolve this. Try and win.
Though I said, I will rise again.
I still probably am messing myself up a little bit by recording footage at 2 or 3 in the morning and then wanting to stream at like 10 in the morning.
A bear a day keeps the doctor
Resistance
away.
is meaningless.
Let's see. Gamatsu has an article here. The ESRB is rated Oddworld Soulstorm for the Xbox Series and Xbox One,
Put your lips
which
into each prayer.
probably says it's somewhat close to being reviewed. Here we have a game called Cat Slide Tiles, which looks like it's probably too complicated a sliding tile puzzle to have enough puzzles to be interesting. It's $1.19 English only. If they actually admit how many puzzles there are, I wouldn't be surprised if it's 80 stages. It's a little light.
This invention could be my claim to fame.
Okay. It's like the only thing I can even do.
You're through.
Let's see. Here we have a game on Steam called Susie Burger, which obviously is just a cooking minigame, $5.99, English only. Let's see. Gamatsu says a Metroidvania game called Elderand has been announced for console and PC. Let's see what this looks like. Okay. Might be something here to this. Although it might be a very short game and there might be problems with that idea too. Seems like you probably don't have a ton of scenarios where there's a bunch of monsters attacking you. Instead, it seems like it's more of a boss-focused experience. I can't even remember what I needed other than Portal Craft, so I'm just gonna stick with Portalcraft. And my brain has just gone super sleepy all of a sudden. Well, let's just go through the Game Bolt stuff. Microsoft is excited by the potential of AMD's Fidelity FX Super Resolution. I'm sure everybody is excited as far as the potential there. Psychonauts 2 is possibly launching on August 25th. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. Elden Ring will be at the Summer Game Fest, according to a rumor. This is the problem. It was Game Bolt, though, that was willing to talk about rumors. Battlefield 6 is called Battlefield 2042 rumor. It does at least do you the decency of saying hyphen rumor. Microsoft might announce a new studio acquisition at E3 rumor. Wouldn't be surprised if half of these rumors are straight up made up by Game Bolt. So ideally, I'd like to find a new site that wouldn't publish rumors. Horizon Forbidden West says cross-gen development isn't limiting in any way, quote unquote. I think there's arguably a lie in that. See, here's another part of the face of Alloy now. She does look just like more swollen in the face than she did in the first game, and I can't think that that's just the lighting. Yeah, and there are worse examples, and in those worse examples, it really makes her look somewhat like Bobby from King of the Hill, which is not a show I would want to have to reference because it's not a show I've watched. Let's see. Dying Light 2, 10 new things revealed. Let's see. Aiden's story, Night Runners, factions, city alignment system. I don't feel like some of those were new infected types. See, this is kind of a great example of what a modern zombie game does, is it has the zombies get very close to you and try to attack you and make you see their hideous face. In Left 4 Dead, you can never get close enough to see their faces or be afraid of them. Yep. And I think that's, if you do get close enough in Left 4 Dead, you clip right through their faces anyways, at least in the developer commentary section.
It's the small things in life.
Let's see. Top games we may see at Xbox E3 2021 event, according to Gaming Bolt. Starfield, Psychonauts 2, Ages of Empires 4, Microsoft Flight Simulator, Horizon 5, Avowed. Forgot about that one. The Outer Worlds 2, Omen. And that's a code name, Omen. Wolfenstein 3, Suna Saga, Hellblade 2, Elden Ring, Tale of Arise. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear nothing of Elden Ring ever again. But everything else here seems fairly believable. Scorn, I don't know why Scorn in particular would be at the presentation. The Ascent, I don't remember that game either. But the rest of these listings, not bad guesses by any means. They do feel in line with what would be reasonable.
Gotcha. I get the gist of it.
Let's see. Scarlet Nexus could launch day one on Xbox Game Pass, according to a rumor. This was the red and black anime characters outfitted. I wouldn't be surprised about anything as far as Microsoft trying to add as much value as possible, but Scarlet Nexus is a fairly odd pick. It would be hard to see why Microsoft would want to put out such a Japanese-centric game, or Japanese-looking game, for free, when that's usually the niche audience that it's willing to pay. Guilty Gear Strive, the first DLC character out in July. Free updates include a combo maker. So you can check that out if you're interested. And again, we're just going through all the Game Bolt articles. Bright Memory Infinite receives new screenshots, new gameplay trailer coming June 10th. I don't know if that means the game is coming June 10th or if the trailer is coming June 10th. It's been a long time since Bright Memory Infinite was announced, so it wouldn't fully surprise me if it came out on that date.
Oh, guinea pigs, where are you? Oh, guinea pigs, where are you?
Freshness guaranteed.
Did I not play hard enough?
I'm still very, very sleepy here.
Good guinea pig.
Didn't feel sleepy when I started an hour and a half ago. Now I do. Yep. I don't think it's particularly odd for me in the summer months to try and sleep through the whole day anyways. Maybe midnight streams, just embracing it might be the right move.
I do believe we have a case. I am
see if we
such a
can
genius.
Save ourselves here.
Freshness guaranteed.
Me
I am
whiskers.
such a genius.
Who will pardon my sins?
Is there an evolve bonus? No.
Coming at you.
And that concludes today's sermon.
Forza Motorsport, Xbox Series X and S has a huge generation leap, says the developers. So it seems like people are still working on the art. This is a long showcase interview section.
Aegis transformation. Holy
Yep.
jump!
I guess I can't complain about their presentations being an hour long when my streams tend to be 3 hours long. The medium might be headed to the PS5. I don't see a reason why it really wouldn't.
Lend me your power, Golden Step.
Let's see. They have an opinion piece here, marked correctly as an editorial. Would there be a point to a new Metal Gear Solid game without Hideo Kojima? I think there would be a point, certainly, but not with Konami in charge, because I think we all know what's going to happen if Konami is in charge of making any game. This is going to be a full and complete cash grab.
You smell suspicious.
This is as far as I can go.
Let's see. A Marvel Future Revolution shows off Spider-Man gameplay. I don't know what Marvel Future Revolution is, though. Looks like it might be a fighting game.
Journey take us. By the
But
power
I don't know.
Into the wrong forest, friend.
No, maybe more of a online MOBA.
Shall pay for defiling the
That
sky.
makes some more sense. This doesn't feel like this is the next Spider-Man mainline title, though. For sure. Here we have a game called Battle Cat. Is a player versus player first-person shooter where Splinter Cell, The Division, and Ghost Recon will collide. This is a rumor. If I make a copy of this, I'll put that in my hand. I can attack that way.
Me whiskers.
Let's see. Gamebolt says the Balian Wonderworld creator has confirmed he's left Square Enix. He says he might retire. He's maybe a little young to retire, but he's 55 years old. But maybe he can get away with retiring. Anyways,
Embrace them in your fiery gales.
there's a lot of evidence that Gearbox and 2K will announce a new game at the Summer Game Fest Kickoff Live. Actually, that part's not rumors. The part that's rumored is that it's going to be called Tiny Tina's Wonderlands as a Borderlands spin-off. I wonder, certainly, like if that turned in, if that was like a mobile phone game or something, something just completely unexpected. I'm not sure people would really appreciate that or want that. Otherwise, if it is just a more Borderlands style Borderlands spin-off game, then that's gonna be weird also. Like, I don't see where Tiny Tina and maybe the insanity and delusionalness of Tiny Tina makes Borderlands any real different or better. What would be really funny is if it was an Alice Madness Returns clone and Tiny Tina is just platforming throughout a crazy world like the Wonderland world or something like that. Yeah, some maybe slightly more kid-friendly, slightly different style of gameplay. If anything, I suppose that is evidence, though, that the bond between 2K and Gearbox still seems to exist fairly well. Otherwise, I was suspecting that there would be a Borderlands game made by a different company completely, and that Embracer Group would move Gearbox into making a completely different type of game. I suppose the way they could really screw up any new announcements is if it was an online Battleborns type clone. Since that game was already rejected, it would be very silly for them to try and make something very much like that again. In the past, though, Gearbox has said that they're a first-person shooter company, and that's pretty much all they can do and would want to do. I'm generalizing what they said, but so that does put you in a weird position to kind of wonder if there is room for a different type of game made by Gearbox. Here, Gamma Sutra has an article. Anything can be a game. The intriguing views within Chasing Light. I totally disagree with that idea, that anything can be a game. And I totally would say, just because even if I was to say anything could be a game, that doesn't mean anything can be a good game.
No smile today.
Get that.
Adorable to the end.
Gotcha.
Get that.
I get the gist of it.
And that. Let's see. A game called Meteor Pendulum gets a PC this release later this week in the West. This looks like this is some sort of adult game from the looks of it. I'll check it out and see if it's a visual novel or if it's some other kind of game. Judging by the screenshots, it's a visual novel. Yeah, it's a lewd adult visual novel game. So let's go ahead and hit that.
Everyone needs an afterlife plan. Why would I laugh?
That.
Gotcha.
And that.
I get the
And
gist of
that.
it.
Sight,
Let's see.
frills, double check.
Here's an article called Switch Sizes, the World Ends With You, Lego Builder's Journey, and Alex Kidd Miracle World. Apparently these are all eShop games that are either coming to Switch or have already come to Switch. That's N4G. We're back to N4G articles. So once again, I'm just going to try and burn through them as much as possible.
Why would I laugh? Gotcha.
I get the gist
Although
of it.
the order here probably should be to burn through these Gamma Sutra Komatsu articles. That way we could get a more detailed article and then ignore the N4G articles if they're redundant. Here we have a PC game called the Irresponsible Schoolgirl Simulator called Detained. It's just called Detained, Too Good for School, from the Vagrant developer
Finally be reunited.
campaign, Kickstarter campaign launches. There was a game called The Vagrant. Suppose I'd have to go and look and see what The Vagrant was. If I'm recalling correctly, I think it was something that tried to be a bit of a Metroidvania game, but also seemed to kind of focus on trying to be a lewd kind of anime
It smells
game
like this every millennium.
too, out of nowhere. Okay. Do this,
Owl cyclones, devour the land.
and then evolve this.
Coming at you. I nailed that line, didn't I?
And
Gotcha.
then hit that.
I get the gist of it. I
And
get
then
the
hit
gist of it.
that. And then the turn. Looking at the trailer for Detained, it actually looks
Persistence is meaningless.
slightly more wholesome than you would think at first. It has a visual novel aspect, and one of the characters is shown with a lot of cleavage and big boobs, but really it is just a beat 'em up game in the same vein as River City Ransom or River City Girls. In fact, it seems like it has pretty much exactly the same theme and exactly the same gameplay. So I'll just show off a little bit of this. You can see there's a collection of enemies of varying sizes. So, yeah. Not very surprised there. Well, actually, I am very surprised. I'm extremely surprised that that wasn't more lewd. Just go ahead and evolve.
Now the fight begins.
There's no other way. There's no retreat.
Ooh, I am not signed in. game, the website, Steam decided to log me out. So, putting things on follow list. So I won't even be able to check. Here's The Vagrant. It came out in 2018. It is mostly, I think, a Metroidvania game. It just happened to have a character with very large cleavage, but also it was so zoomed out that it didn't seem like there was a ton of lewdness to it. It was just a bikini-clad, muscly character, which you'd almost assume that Samus Aran from the Metroid series also looks somewhat like that under her outfit, or you would have until they showed her in the bodysuit. $3.99, very positive. So yeah. Radiant artifacts. Hit that. And then hit that.
I will protect even in death. You're through.
Then a ball here. I guess kill that.
Kiss me goodbye.
Let's see, the 3D horizontal roguelike action game Loopmancer has been announced for consoles and PC. This is a Gametsu article. Do we have a trailer here? So, it's one of these high action 2D hack and slash shooter games. Might be something here that works. It's got a lot of polish and cutscenes, so it might be visually interesting to look at while doing some grindy type gameplay.
The hour of judgment has come.
There's no other way. There's no retreat.
And Gamasutra, we know Gamasutra probably supports this action, but at least I will give them the credit to say that their article is reporting about what other video game companies have done. So, yeah, indie developers have curated a new itch bundle in aid of Palestine, with Valve potentially allowing people to create cross-developer bundles. I wouldn't be surprised if we see something similar tried to be listed on Steam, and I'm sure Steam probably will try to stay away from that and just let it happen. There's a big difference, though, posting your personal editorial or opinion on a website, a video game website, in aid of a country that's under attack, versus reporting what other people do, if those other people actually work in the video game industry.
Tonight.
I don't know how I ended up on a PC Gamer article. Oh, I guess the PC Gaming Show is happening, so PCGamer.com has a list of things that might happen, or trying to get you hyped for the PC Gaming Show. Again, more E3 stuff. M4G has a new trailer showcasing Yuki Bullet Hell gameplay ahead of a summer launch, which says once again a game I don't recognize. Although I don't really need to recognize a game that hasn't even launched yet. Now I could just look at the missions instead of just continuously playing the same thing. They have the upcoming Nintendo Switch games, Mario Golf, Super Rush, Ninja Gaiden Master Collection, and Game Builder Garage.
Activate.
Let's see.
Enhance.
According to Game Bolt, FIFA 21 retakes the top spot in the UK retail charts. Which... Okay, something about FIFA in the summer, maybe? That would be maybe my guess, is that it may just be soccer time, football time in the UK.
It's the small things in life.
Let's see, Komatsu says, Ecosystem Reconstruction Reverse City Builder Terra Nil has been announced for PC. Which... seems like you're trying to build a city on a destroyed area, or I think more accurately what you're trying to do here is you're trying to build the land back up. That's an interesting idea. I don't know how far you can really go with an idea like that, to bring back nature to an environment, particularly since it still seems like kind of magical machines that would be doing all the terraforming.
You'll find gizmos like this every millennium.
Gotcha.
You wouldn't.
An interesting idea. Gamasutra says the Black Desert Online developer Pearl Abyss has opened a new office in LA and Amsterdam, which I guess Black Desert Online is still going. There is something I'll mention here as far as the Wonderlands idea, a Tiny Tina Wonderlands game, is that Tiny Tina in Borderlands 2 versus the Tiny Tina in Borderlands 3, I think she's a little bit older, a little bit more mature in Borderlands 3. So if you're going to move her even further in her age, you're eventually just going to make her a boring character, as at the moment she's still the only kid that has really survived on Pandora alone, although she does seem to be about as crazy as everybody else who lives on Pandora,
No smile
or
today.
what lived on Pandora. I'm not sure if she
Why would
even
I laugh?
is really
Best of luck to you.
still living on Pandora in Borderlands 3.
Rusty horseshoe.
You might try and flash back to when she was even younger, but you can't go too far in that direction.
This town
Let's
is
see.
good folk for breakfast.
Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker producer and director Naoki Yoshida has a Q&A
We
at
can finally be
blog.playstation.com. Cyan has released art assets for further work on the fan-run Myst MMO. The subtitle joke is fans have been waiting for ages. The Uru MMO that they tried to make many years ago failed miserably. I'm not sure if this Moolah Myst Online let's see, Myst Online Uru Live is still just trying to do Uru. It kind of feels like it is, which, yeah, I don't think you're gonna get as far as you would like to get just bringing back Uru and turning it back into an MMO. It would frankly be more interesting in my mind to turn the first Myst game, or Riven, into an MMO.
Watch this.
Gotcha.
Because that would be at least something new and imaginative. Demon Slayer for PS5, Xbox Series X, and more reveals characters of the Kimetsu Academy with a new trailer. We had already heard about this from Kimetsu. So not only is N4G not giving us really information, it's also being late to the party with old information.
I lowballed you. Gotcha.
Gamma Sutra is an obituary for Ebby Altberg, the CEO of Second Life developer Linden Lab. We haven't heard anything about Second Life in a long time, so I imagine it was still running fine. He looks like a fairly young person, so I can't help but wonder if this was COVID related, but you never know. See, the breathtaking world of Grow Song of Evertree to sprout on PC and console later this year, according to N4G.
Big trouble now.
Yep. Gaming Bolt says the Warner Bros. Game presentation consists only of Back 4 Blood. Which, alright. I assume you only play as 4 characters, but I swear they highlighted more characters you could pick from. I think Back 4 Blood is probably going to make it so that you could probably play at least 3 out of the 4 characters as different female characters, but also they're going to make it so that nobody has to play as a female if nobody wants to, because, yeah, sexism unfortunately still seems to exist in character picking. At a certain point, if it doesn't make a player feel comfortable, you shouldn't force them to play as a female. It's a ridiculous thing they should address on their own time, but whatever.
This is meaningless. This is grave.
Hey, let's check the missions. Bloodcraft. What's the other options? Alright. We'll lose at Bloodcraft for a while. Let's see. Gamatsu says the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake launches in 2022, and it's skipping the Ubisoft Forward, which I think we'd pretty much already been given that indication as far as that was what was going to happen. A Mass Effect Legendary Edition 7 June update fixes improvements and additional optimizations, which I would have thought, being a collection of old games, it would have been perfect on launch, but yeah, that's too much to ask, certainly, for any game these days. See, Koch Media teaser website could be pointing to a new RPG reveal this Friday. See, which, alright, I don't know anything more from that. That's a bad article in particular. It's currently live streaming a Mysterious Room. We are going to get to the point where people are just going to see how far they can live stream nothing to get people hyped or waste people's times. A Rainbow Six Extraction reveal is set for Ubisoft Forward. So some kind of new game. was, I guess, originally called Rainbow Six Quarantine, and all these characters seem like they've covered in some kind of black mold or moss. It feels like this may very well just be a zombie game in a Rainbow Six universe. And there's a question as far as who or what you're extracting. And I'm not sure I care about Rainbow Six enough to even go any further down that thought pattern.
Fancy footwork. Ow! Get ready to fly. Adorable to the end.
Let's see. Yeah, Game Bolt says Rainbow Six Extraction officially announced. New teaser and dev team was revealed. Guess this is the Sprawl teaser, which looks a lot like the other teaser. I think Control, and this looks a lot like Control, probably would have worked better if there was more of a mold aspect in the top areas. I know there was mold aspects in the bottom areas of the building, and I never even bothered to go there, so it's my own darn fault for not seeing that content. But I guess inherently also part of the problem with Control is it was just a boring game.
Are you? I'm so excited.
Just too repetitive in its gameplay mechanic. Here we have a second obituary. People are dying left and right, although in all fairness, this guy looks a little bit older. The Siberia creator and former Microids art director Benoit Sokol, Belgian comic book artist and video game developer.
Step back. New arrival incoming.
So, yeah, another person's passed.
Love blooms forever.
He was battling a long-term illness, so probably not directly COVID related. Let's see, Game Bolt says the Division series won't be at the Ubisoft Forward. New content is on track. I'm gonna get all these teases to the Ubisoft Forward and E3 stuff, and then the event's gonna happen, and then there's gonna be the exact same news again.
Allow me to bestow a kiss.
Go! Go!
My blade longs for the passion melt under
Hit
my
that.
touch. I just want to fill the emptiness.
And hit that.
Everyone needs an afterlife plan.
Hit that. See, N4G has Daisuke Ishawatari aims to make Guilty Gear Strive one of the most accessible fighting games. Yeah, and they managed to get 2 full paragraphs here. This is a Your Gamer article. And see, that's another problem with having a website that just curates and does write-ups on other websites, is then all of a sudden I'm talking about Your Gamer articles when I don't want to talk about Your Gamer, Polygon, or Kotaku articles. A game called Where the Heart Leads is now available for pre-order for PS5 and PS4. Looks like kind of a weird game. Might be something there, but it might be nothing too.
Brutality.
Do I need news stories telling me a game is out now? That's another issue.
Delightful.
In a funny way, something being out now is only news if none of the other announcements have happened telling you as far as the release dates and teases and trailers and all of that. If none of that had happened up until that point, then that's news. The Flora Builder VR game Winds and Leave is coming to PS4 on July 27th. Winds in Leaves. I haven't heard about this, but also a PSVR game pretty much eliminates it from being interesting to me. Game called Sun Wukong vs. Robot is kicking into consoles this week, according to N4G. The side-scrolling action game The Soldat with Twin Arms for PC launches in 2021, according to Gematsu. Let's see if we can figure out what kind of game this is. Looks like it's a 2D beat-em-up game. Kind of RPG element game. See. 3 to an enemy follower.
Cry for me. Scream for me.
I'm wearing out my voice way too much.
Hey, check this out.
This whole thing just does not work.
Where should I drop this lightning? Oops,
Waking up in the
my
morning
hand
and
slipped.
then streaming and recording, which means either I'm gonna have to stop making as much content, which it's not like I'm making a lot of content at the moment, or something else is gonna have to go.
Say goodbye.
Yeah, the Soldat and Twin Arms might be interesting. Indie Live Expo 2021 winter has been announced. Check out Gematsu for more information if you're interested. Guerrilla Collective events, day 1s and day 2s, seem to be announced.
I'm not afraid of the light.
A 3D high-speed character action game called Ultra Age launches this fall. I think we may have already talked about Ultra Age. Yeah, we did.
This whip is an extension of myself.
Let's defile the battlefield.
Right. And
I love the
survive
chaos.
this.
Whipsy daisy.
Maybe. A action-adventure game called Trifox has been announced for the PS5, Xbox Series, Xbox One, PS4, Switch, and PC. See if we can see what
Be sparky.
that is.
Be adorable.
This here's the shady part of town.
Top-down twin-stick shooter.
Ow. Oh.
Here we have a game called Fire Tonight, launching August 12th. Which looks like it might be an interesting, like, visual novel point-and-click adventure. Seems like it. The city's on fire and it's keeping the two people separate. And so you're running around trying to meet up together. It might be something to that, but I wouldn't be surprised if there really isn't.
The hour of judgment has come.
So I need as many things dead.
Whipsy daisy.
So I'm gonna be very careful to
I love the chaos.
kill
That was
everything.
fun.
Mankind's tenacity will exterminate you, vermin. I'm not afraid of the light.
This was a shocking bit of news. A Alfred Hitchcock Vertigo game has been announced for the PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Switch, and Xbox One and PC. Due out in late in 2021. Vertigo is probably an interesting story to make a video game off. It's coming via Microids, which Microids was also the maker of the ABC Murders Agatha Christie game that I had just finished playing. So I would like to see him do a little bit better than that game as far as telling a better story and making more of a video game experience. I don't know if the story around Vertigo in particular works, though. In all fairness, I suppose there is an argument for
Pain and suffering are what I live for.
What am I trying to say here?
With this payment,
There should have been something that occurred or that has been done with the I want to say Sherlock Holmes, Alfred Hitchcock stuff. Like, Alfred Hitchcock movies and stories have been untouchable as far as remakes or continuations or even remasters and re-releases. So video game may be the only form where maybe you could get away with making a remaster and not angering people too much. Yeah, Destructoid has an article. Sweary's The Good Life is delayed to this fall. I think we've already talked about this. I wouldn't be surprised if that game gets straight up canceled. Let's see. Gamebolt has God of War director calls out abuse following the delay and cross-gen announcement. I think the cross-gen announcement probably was bad too. But, yeah, people were not happy about it. And now the director is playing the victim. Which, I mean, yeah. The problem with any scenario like this is that some people are going to say he's getting probably the normal amount of abuse any famous person on the internet gets, and he's just being a diva. Some people may, or it could be that he is getting a massive amount of abuse because he was the messenger, and now the internet wants to shoot the messenger. At a certain point, he should be the adult, though, and just say, yeah, this stuff doesn't matter. I don't need to call out abuse and take a stand. Like, I was listening to a comedian on a podcast, and she very much, I think, hit the nail on the head when she goes, oh, people taking a stand online now is just a new way of throwing a tantrum. And if you just called it throwing a tantrum, you would realize how a lot of this is ridiculous. If you want to take a real stand, you're not going to be able to do it online.
Check out my fancy footwork.
Like the protesters at Tiananmen Square took a real stand. Info-G reminds me here that the Medium was a Xbox Series exclusive. Apparently not anymore, which I wouldn't be surprised about that. It's not like that game was particularly good or well received, so it would make a lot of sense that for it to not stay an exclusive for very long. The Horizon Forbidden West creators promise a highly ambitious sequel. I imagine these are all the same things said in the same article as far as the Horizon West, whatever.
Each life has a different value.
I'm getting really cloud-headed. Can't even talk straight. Tour de France 2021 is available on Xbox consoles. Let's see. EA begins Battlefield 2021 marketing campaign. Cryptic messages sent to content creators.
Melt under my touch.
Get ready to fly.
Let's see if I can kill this.
On to the next life.
A game called Dungeon Crusher Kirtan striking on the Switch. I guess that's the reason why M4G had so many articles and tabs open, is because they talk about everything and they don't have to write any articles at all because they're just re-quoting other people. Super UFO Fighter is approaching the Switch this fall. Koromon Taming Monsters on the Switch in 2022. Arc Genesis Part 2 launches today, which Arc Survival Evolved, I think at this point, has been pretty much abandoned. I don't think anybody's playing that anymore. See. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart is getting performance and performance ray tracing modes. We already talked about that. The satirical beat-em-up game Albacete, A-L-B-A-C-E-T Warriors, now available on Steam Early Access. Let's see if this video gives us an idea of what it really is. Doesn't really look like anything. Warhammer 40k Lost Crusade is now available for iOS and Android. And again, this is all just M4G articles. The hobo-themed sim management building game Garbage is coming to PC via Steam today. This again, probably a joke game. Yeah. I don't think there's really a game here I'd want to play. Let's see. This. And then do this. And then
Are you as excited as I am? Well, are you? Hey, check this out! If you want me to hurt you, I'm gonna scoop out your
see, roguelike village builder Koniga Seeds of Civilization is now fully funded on Kickstarter. I don't like talking about Kickstarter games either, so that's another reason N4G doesn't really work for me. Even in this instance, when it's probably news to say a game is fully funded on Kickstarter. No, it isn't though, because too many Kickstarters are fully funded and then still never deliver. Let's see, the Last Spell preview from Hey Poor Player. There's a rumor that Persona 5 Royale could be headed to the Xbox One. It's been rated in Korea. Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2 is now available with a new trailer. Funko unveils the latest PlayStation Pops. Sir Daniel Fortescue and Sly Cooper. I don't know who Sir Daniel Fortescue would be. Let's see.
The hour of judgment has come.
Legends of Heroes has its first trailer showing characters and gameplays. I think we've already talked about that. Last Kids on Earth and the Staff of Doom releases on Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC.
I shall give birth to a new
Which
world.
I'll be interested to see how people like that. Let's see, the saga continues with Kimco's Alpha Dia Genesis 2 on Xbox and PC. Never heard of it, but it looks like it's a Japanese RPG game of no real quality. The kittens head to space and Astro Aqua Kitty, which maybe this is a spin-off of or sequel of a previous game. I don't know.
Are you as excited as I am? Well, are you?
The world cycles on.
Let's see. Horizon Forbidden West flying neither confirmed nor denied, which that's not news at that point.
Excited?
Let's see. Final Fantasy VII Remake integrated while the PlayStation 5 will have free DLC of the PlayStation 4 version.
How dare you? How dare you?
Let's see. Toho Project's Tohovania Komaju Ramilia Scarlet Symphony coming to Switch and PC via Steam. Let's look at this one. I think we probably have seen this before, but maybe I haven't. Still not really certain if I understand or even care to understand what the Toho project is really supposed to be.
Extension of myself.
Let's defile the battlefield.
Do
Whoopsie
this.
daisy.
And then
I
do this.
love the chaos.
Mankind's tenacity will exterminate you, vermin.
Monster Hunter 2 Stories, Rings of Ruin gets a new batch of screenshots and art. Mecha Strategy JRPG Relayer for the PS5 and PS4 gets a trailer. I think we had already talked about Relayer as a mecha fighting game. We may have talked about that on Friday.
You're tough.
At this point, while I would love a victory, I think it might be smarter for me to simply just sit it out. Like, I need 3 victories, and unless I can get 3 quick disconnects, I don't think I'm going to get that. Battlefield 2021 teaser message decrypted. Here's what it contains. This is twistedvoxel.com via N4G. This is a bit of a story. An artist says Capcom stole photos for Resident Evil and Devil May Cry games for years, and she seems to have some decent proof, unless she's made a very good amount of fraud effort here. This could certainly explain why there has never been a Resident Evil 4 remaster. This could be explain why there hasn't been any major Resident Evil 4 efforts to for a while. although it was ported to a heck of a lot of things. What's funny about copyright law, though, is in the United States in particular, if Capcom is found to be guilty of what it looks like they're guilty of, they may owe every single bit of profit that they got from Resident Evil 4 completely to this artist. Not a percentage, not anything like that. Every single dollar. And that almost certainly would bankrupt Capcom. It would be the end of the Resident Evil series, more than likely. Or at least put it in the hands of a completely different entity. There is a small possibility that the fan project of remastering the art might be stealing her art, and there might be some confusion there. I doubt it, though. I doubt you would get this far in a lawsuit. And it could very well be that this artist has been a thorn in the side of Capcom as far as their desires to potentially make a remaster of it and resell it once again. And that might be the reason why they haven't bothered to touch it. Is because they know that the game is toxic, and that they may very well have been for years trying to get a settlement with this artist. That would be your main goal, is saying blame an employee doing it on their own, which it probably was an employee doing it on their own, and then offer a massive settlement and a non-disclosure agreement.
I won't hurt you too much.
Yep, that's pretty much, I think, all you could do is just try to settle.
Oh my, this pack as promised. Breach of contract.
Let's see, Komatsu says a 505 Games and Prideful Slots announce a world crafting game called Crow's Song of Evertree for the PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC.
Those centuries pass. I remember all.
Yep, looks interesting. Of course, I'm skipping over all the Steam games, which means we're just going to have a lot of announcements. Lots of games on Friday. Idle Manager for PC launches July 27, according to Komatsu. Yep, doesn't look like it's a particularly interesting game. Honestly, I don't even think the art looks particularly good.
Forever and ever more.
Mankind's tenacity will exterminate you, vermin.
I am a prisoner of this world's
See,
whims.
Fault Milestone 2 Side Below launches in September.
Ow, I lost. You're
This,
tough.
I think, is a visual novel. I think we may have already talked about this and looked at this trailer. Let's see. Lost Epic is now available in early access for PC. Early access is to run 6 months to a year. At least that's helpful when for people to say, hey, this early access is limited. We're not going to just drag it on forever.
Activate.
Although I never give a game 6 months on the fall list to come back and say, oh, well, now it's finally out of early access. A year is really out of the question. Some of these Gematsu articles were N4G articles too.
I'll get production up and running.
Scarlet Nexus gets an extensive great trailer showcasing action JRPG gameplay. Did we look at this? We may have seen some of this, but we probably skipped a lot of this too.
Allow me to bestow a crimson kiss.
A game called Transy Ruby launches this fall on PC. A Metroidvania game. Apparently.
That is delightful.
No video link. Although, you know, a game being announced doesn't really mean anything anyways. Yeah, it's got tiny little pixel art characters in a Metroidvania, which I might be able to get used to that, but that's not particularly attractive visually. We probably have some time to for them to potentially polish up their art if they want to, or forget about the game completely since it's not actually out. A mental health romance visual novel called Minhira Felicia Flowering Abyss is launching in 2021 for Japan on Switch, PC, iOS, and Android. I'm not sure I pronounced that right.
All systems stand by.
But yeah, this looks like a visual novel with maybe some crazy stuff in it, like a lot of them. A shoot 'em up called Gray's Counter GM has PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, and Xbox One version. It was previously announced for Switch and PC. We're still seeing some of that too, where games are announced only for Switch and PC, and then they're deciding later to port it to other things. A world-changing RPG third called, or III Revolving Wonderland, has been announced for PC. I guess it's III. Might be something to this, or it might be kind of nothing. Might be too much of a JRPG, frankly. Yeah, I'd have to see some reviews on it.
Allow me to bestow a crimson kiss.
Okay. Gematsu also points out that The Good Life, on top of being delayed, the publisher has now changed to Playism. It's no longer due out in the summer via the Irregular Company, which that's kind of important details to overlook. A sci-fi mystery adventure game called Eden Schemata has been announced for PC.
Quicksilver barrier.
Let's see if we can get anything from the trailer. kind of rough animation, but I kind of like it too because it feels kind of like 90s inspired. And I'd rather see more movement with less details than highly detailed but stationary animations that we see in a lot of other like visual novel type games.
I'm so useless.
There's pretty much no way I can win here with this deck because it's doing just far too much damage to yourself. Let's see. Sinin Kagura X Hyperdimension Neptunia crossover gets new screenshots, trailer, and gameplay things. This is the Nin Ninja Tyson Neptunia game.
Blast boosters ready. We're going full throttle.
I think we'd already seen this.
How dare you? How
On
dare
Gametsu.
you?
Alright, so now I gotta close out some of these games on Steam because there's no more tabs otherwise. Here we have one called Palladium Adventure in Greece. That's no good because I probably want to put that on the fall list. So here we have a game called Need for Conquest, which looks like nothing. So $4.99, English only.
This whip is an extension of myself.
Here we have one called Void Warfare, which just looks like a space shooter. $9.99, English only.
Whipsy daisy. I love the chaos.
Go! Go!
Here we have a
I'm sick
game
of
called
being a
Best Day
faceless
Ever,
scrub.
which looks like it's nothing. Looks like kind of a visual novel interactive story. $13.49, English and French. That's too expensive. Let's see. Next game is take sexual content and nudity. It's called Hot Summer. It's another puzzle game with anime girls. And that's it. $1.19, English full audio. Here we have a game called Zombies, Deserts, and Guns. Looks like an ugly platformer. $5.99, English only. Literally can't do either one of these.
Cry for me. Scream for me.
Hey, check this out!
War is so I love the chaos.
Here we have a visual novel called Would You Like to Run an Idle Cafe? Which seems to be probably too simplistic. Wing Cloud. $7.49, English and Chinese. Not tagged with any adult content, so probably fairly boring to that audience. Here we have Chess Mega Bundle, which there's an idea there, certainly, of different kinds of chess. $3.99, English only. Guess that has to go on the fall list. Here we have a game called Greedy Bubble, which, yeah, doesn't look like anything. 69 cents, English only. Here we have a game called IORC, Impact Orbital Rescue Crew. Looks like it's a 3D shooter game, but it doesn't look very polished. $7.06, that's an odd price. English full audio. I guess I'll put this on the fall list just to give it a chance. Here we have a game called Scamper, which looks like you're an animal running around an environment. It's probably an asset flip game, but I'd like to put it on the fall list anyways. $3.99 English full audio, allegedly at least. And see, since the new day has started, there's totally a game, a whole nother arena run that I should play, and I'm just not gonna get around to doing it, almost certainly. And there's a whole nother daily victory. Here we have a game called Open World for Eva that looks like garbage. Blocky graphics, $9.89, English only. Here we have a game called Blade Assault that looks slightly interesting, so that should be on the follow list. Bunch of languages, $15.29. Here we have a game called Yinglet, which, yeah, there's nothing here. $4.49, bunch of languages. Honestly, I think I just want to call it a day. At the risk of having news left over from today, and probably having a decent amount of news on Friday, even though E3 is just around the corner, I think I just want to wrap up this stream here. We haven't even gone 3 hours, but my throat is just getting worse and worse. This game, City of the Brave, is $3.99 English and Chinese. So, I mean, I could sit here and try and walk through more of these games. Here's a game that just vibrates your controller for you. Which there's already a dumb game on Steam that does that. $2.99 English only. Yeah. Here we have a game called Red Venture. I guess I have to decide to end it if I'm going to end it. This looks like garbage. $2.39 English Russian. Yeah. There's probably 100. Well, there could be 100, or there could be one extra tab left. There's just no telling. But yeah, I'm just not feeling this at all. So that's going to be it for the stream. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to further follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game off my wishlist.